Let me do this. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Hi, Dennis and Fernanda. How was this day?
Hi, everything fine?
Perfect. Well, again, it's your choice if you want to start now or maybe wait a little bit because we are just three in the Zoom session.
Yeah.
Let's wait.
Actually, I want to make a question. If if may I.
Okay, let's go. Tell me.
You sent me the homework number 4.
Yep.
And we have to send you the homework number 3 till this midnight, right?
Yes. 4 is just for the ones who finished all the writing exercises. Not everybody did, so I just took in count the ones that take it as an important fact and complete the full exercises about the letter of referral, case report, and everything. If there is not enough time, don't worry, then I understand that number 4 is not possible.
But maybe I can do it. I could do it, but I want to know if there's something else that I have to make.
No, try to finish number 3. That could be perfect, okay? Number 4, if you cannot do it, don't worry, I understand the situation.
Okay.
You have a score. Until this point, you have a score done with the all writing exercises. 4 is for finishing the promedium, but if not possible, don't worry. There's not gonna be such a huge difference about the score.
Okay. Well, I will send you the homework number 3.
Yes, the third one is
just
more
finishing
important.
the class.
Yeah. Try to send me as soon as possible in order to get everything done about it, okay?
Okay. Gracias.
You're welcome. Well, now we are 3 people, yeah. Well, we are 4, 3 students and me, yeah. Well, it's your choice. If you want, we can start now. It's not a long presentation, but of course, it has theoretical details, concepts, I mean, for talking about, because we must be ready for finishing for taking the final test tomorrow night. Okay, it's your choice. Do you want to start now? It's 8 and 7.
Is everyone agree? Let's start.
Yes. Any other opinion? Do you want to start now?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, let me upload. Give me a minute, please. Okay, all of you, can you watch my screen?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, perfect. So let's start. I think your classmates are gonna getting into through the time. Well, as you know, today is our last theoretical class. So let's try to work without any trouble, okay? Well, today we are going to check definitions and a general view about research articles, abstracts, conference presentations, and case presentations. We are not going to check the full complete story or how to write a research or article or something like that. We are going to check expressions when we are the ones that are showing the information, I mean. How we can start, how we can finish, how we can talk about research, of course, and new information, how to take in account details for this kind of presentations, and how to prepare that kind of material in order to show a correct slide. I mean, it's not the same a class like this than showing a research, of course, or a clinical case, a clinical report, okay? Research articles, as a definition, we understand that a research article is a journal article in which the authors report on the research they did. Research articles are always primary sources. Whether or not a research article is peer-reviewed depends on the journal that publishes it. So if you want a huge way to show your information, then you will have a biggest journal, I mean. The structure of a research article is this. It's divided into four main sections. Introduction, the methods, results, and discussions. This is the acronyms IMRAD: introduction, methods, research, and discussion. This structure, this abbreviation is the one that we are going to use. So take it in account in order to get an organized idea. The IMRAD, the introduction, is the background information. It reminds the reader what is known, includes the information about previous studies, explain what has not been investigated previously, establish a point of view, and there's usually a statement of the objective. So getting this introduction correctly written, you have the biggest idea about how to introduce, how to start with information, and how to understand which information you are looking for from this and what you are going to find on the article. The methods, of course, give details of the people who were part of the research, contains information about any intervention carried out, give details of the steps taken in the studies, how the participants were chosen, includes the main things measured. So you can see here you have details how this article is done. Talking about variables, data numbers, all the information they collect and organized. And the results, of course, show the findings. They have show the findings of the study in charts, pie charts, I don't know, lots of information we were checking in previous classes in order to show the result or the objective is reached or not by this investigation. About the discussion, it contains explanations and claims for the importance of the study, lists limitations or unsatisfactory parts of the study, suggest what research needs to be done in the future, and there's usually a conclusion as a separated section. So in that way, when we get a discussion, we are closing the information, we are finishing our speech, could be said, and we suggest what we have to do in the future in order to improve this first research article. That's why it's important to take it in account. About the acknowledgements, authors thank people who have helped in their research, and there's the list of references. So all the support they had, all the bibliography they got, all the information they were collecting in order to write down the introduction and support the methods and discussion. About the objectives, we have some verbs to take in account for writing down correctly and, of course, showing correctly our results. For example, assess, we can say, we assessed whether, determine. The aim of our study was to determine whether, investigate, we investigated the, evaluate. This study evaluated the. So as you can see, all of these verbs are in past. Why in past? Because you are showing a process that you already finished. That's something that is done. That's why it's important to take it in account. About the main findings. The main findings are usually in the discussion section at the beginning. Is related to the objective, and the typical verbs, the most common verbs include show. For example, we have shown that, again, confirm, our study confirmed that, provide evidence. These findings provide strong evidence that. So you can see these expressions while reading articles, you can find they are written almost all the time. For example, if results are less certain, suggest, these results suggest that, so we can watch the other side of the coin maybe, and then take a better conclusion. And for example, a negative result, fail to. This study failed to show that, so you can see. These expressions are common to read, common to practice. We have to get used to writing down about it, and it's easier because we're taking the good grammar on this. About abstracts, we have to take into account this definition. Medical abstracts is a summary of research study that allows readers to quickly learn about the important aspects of a study. In medical journal, an abstract is usually presented at the beginning of the published article. Abstracts are also a main vehicle of communication at scientific meetings. So taking into account the abstracts, the structure they have, and everything done, we have to consider that it's the best way of talking about each other, and it's a good way to consider that the information is just going to the point, not rounding, not changing ideas, not exchanging meanings, or maybe making a confusion about the information. So what's the main vehicle of communication at scientific meetings? It's easier to go with an abstract instead of a full article. That's why we consider this. And while reading abstracts, of course, don't spend too much time while reading, because it has, if I'm not wrong, around 5,000 or 4,000 words as a rule for be written. And well, it's important to consider this. Just go to the abstract and take a general idea of the research, and that's a good way of point of view, of point of study. For example, the British Medical Journal abstract shows us that the British Medical Journal structure abstract is divided into the following sections. Of course, it has an organization for doing this. It takes into account objective, design, setting, subjects, main outcome measure, results, and the conclusion. With all of this, it's possible to do it in short words, just going to the point, with avoiding lots of information, avoiding lots of supporting ideas or theoretical basis about our investigation. For example, we have this abstract from the BMJ, and just as an example, you can see all the structures. Objective, to assess whether early retirement is associated with better survival. The design, long-term prospective cohort study. The setting, petroleum and petrochemical industry in the United States. The subjects, the universe of people we are going to take in account, considering the ages and the date we are working on, the period of time we decided to make the research, the main outcome measure, hazard ratio of death adjusted for sex, year, or entry to study, and socioeconomic status. So we consider these variables for this study. We just go to the results and the conclusions. We avoid the theoretical support, okay? Just go to the point and get, well, as the theoretical idea says, we take the most important information for going ahead with our result. This is a good point of view for starting our reading and studying serious research, because we go with a full idea, a general idea, and there is no way of confusion. About the conference presentations, well, we all have this experience. We all have the chance to be in a conference presentation, maybe as a listener, maybe as a conferencist. But we have this opportunity because while being doctors, we always teach. Maybe the youngest ones that are behind us, we are teaching our patients, we are teaching our family. And we must get in practice how to show a conference presentation, because we never know when we had the chance. While at the college, at the med school, of course, sometimes we decide to be the professor helper, maybe, and we have the opportunity to prepare this material and then prepare this material while we have a class, but it could be prepared as a conference presentation we're getting used to. So it's a good idea to practice on this and to go ahead. A conference is a meeting often lasting a few days, which is organized on a particular subject or to bring together people who have a common interest. For example, I love emergency medicine. I told you from the beginning. All my career, I've been focused on the emergency medicine, and it's for me, it's the most important part of my career. So I decided to take conferences, courses, and PhDs about emergency medicine specifically. On the other hand, we have specialists in the group, neurologists, gynecologists, obstetrics. So everyone goes to each branch, considering that the common interest is the first point of view to consider what you are going to do the rest of your life. The ones that are still in their career have the chance to get in practice about almost all the branches and then choose with time which one is the best for you. But no matter which one you choose, just choose the one you feel better and you know you're going to do your best. And you know you're going to stand this kind of conference presentations for a few days, or maybe in theoretical monthly sessions for understanding and improving. So the common interest is very, very important. Conference presentations provide great opportunities for you to communicate your research to a wide and interested audience, get feedback on your work, learn from other presenters, and broaden your professional network. Preparation and practice are key to getting the most out of these occasions. You cannot say that you are going to be into a conference as a presenter without practicing, because now you get nervous and everything gets a mess. So you have to get on practice and prepare the material, because you have a specific time to do this, usually 15 minutes. The structure of a presentation shows us this. Conference or congress presentations are typically divided into IMRAD. We know what IMRAD means, the IMRAD sections. And if the presentations has a different form, the speaker may start by outlining this structure. This helps to orientate the audience. We all are used to on the IMRAD, if you take it in account and consider the information. We all had the opportunity to check information like this, and why not? You just get used to. So when you decide not to use this organization or this structure, you can use all of these expressions. I'll begin by, first of all, I'll then, secondly, finally, I'll, just as an example, but with these ideas, it's better to start talking. Go ahead. Many speakers like to start a new section with a signal, showing what is happening now, and then continue, or they can say moving on to slide 19, for example. As far as X is concerned, and then you go ahead. So you have lots of new expressions in order to talk correctly and not make a mistake while talking, not becoming a point of jokes. An alternative technique is to use a question. Very common advice in Spanish, that of course in English is a good way to start on. How did we investigate this problem to introduce the method? What did we find to introduce the results? How does this compare with previous studies to introduce discussion? So you can see, you try to, with these questions, you try to get in contrast with other studies that are similar as yours, other research, and then making that comparison is easier for the audience to catch the differences and the new points of view or the new results, and it's easier to talk about it. About the introduction, expressions that are easy to make. Well, a formal way of beginning is, I'd like to present to you the results of our research into, so you can see a very formal expression. But we can change it, and we can use this same speech in a less formal way. And we just talk like talking with, well, surrounded by friends. When we first began to look into the question of X, we thought, so you can see you make your speech as a friendly meeting could be. making questions, sharing ideas, comparing ideas, getting in contrast. Or maybe you might prefer to start in this third way. You may wish begin with a generalization of reference to shared knowledge. It's well known that many studies have shown that X has established clearly that, so you can see, instead of talking with a very formal way or with a very non-formal way, a less formal way, you can start giving information, just going to the point, being so clear and establishing or refreshing some ideas. It's a good way too. About the signaling, well, we have to consider this, emphasizing. For example, we can say, I'd like to emphasize, and then we continue. Listening points. Firstly, secondly, and ahead. Why we use this expression? Because it gets information organized. It's a suggestion. Again, referring to slides. This slide shows going to a graph, for example, and it's easier. Giving examples could be, for instance, such as, and then we get the rest of the example. Or maybe contrasting ideas. On the other hand, in contrast, however, it depends on the context which one you are going to use. And according to that information, it's going to be easy, a piece of cake. About the conclusion, of course, it's important to end well. Could be by summing up the conclusions. If the conclusion fails, all the conference presentations feels weak, not feels with enough information. That's why conclusion is one of the most important parts while speaking, because you have the chance to sum up all the information that we are talking. And the most common expressions are this one in black and words. So, in conclusion, to sum up, finally, for example, we can see, I'd like to say, and by, these studies show, so you can see, you make a sum up of this, you prepare your great paragraph of conclusion with emphasizing ideas, and it could be a great way of finishing this. About case presentations, of course, we all during the med career, I mean, in medicine, invest during the career, of course, we had the chance to prepare information from our patients, or, well, usually our patients, for showing this iconic situation to our professionals, our doctors, for example, nurses, or specialists, who knows, or for being better prepared and showing that something is new. A case presentation is a formal communication between healthcare professionals, such as doctors and nurses, regarding a patient's clinical information. That's why it's important. That's why we must consider this and take it in account. Because if we don't take it as a good point of view and a good point of research, we could not make a mistake, I said, but we could lose a good point of start a new research. That's why it's important to be clear that case presentation is one of the most important activities we have during our whole career. So in that way, I am sorry, my flu is getting worse. So in that way, when we prepare a case presentation, we have essential parts of this. They include identification, reason for consultation, or reason for being admitted or admission. That's why we must take in account all of this situation. It's iconic. That's why we are there. So the case presentation should be chronological and a detailed story about our patient, the physical findings and investigations, followed by the patient's course. So, you know, when we have a patient admitted, we have the chance to talk about it, to collect all the information, to organize and reorganize all the time, such as being, not such as, just for being in a clear situation with our patient health. At this point, you may wish to include more details and you might have time to present, just prioritizing the content later. I mean, in a case presentation, you cannot talk about all the situations that the patient usually wants to talk about. Just go to the point, don't round ideas, don't miss information, and try to take all of this organization clear without mixing, without changing, or without giving a patient your own expressions. It's not a good point of working like this. You have to take it into consideration. We have sections of a case presentation. There's a lot of information, but when we think about it, when we practice on this and we check our career, when we were preparing as students, we had all of these parts developed. And when we check the full medical record, the clinical history, full done, completely done, we have all of these sections. We have all of these details done, and usually it's written by us, I mean, by our own, or maybe by your students, or maybe by your interns. So that's why to get it organized and check all the details. For example, in the introduction, we can say, I'd like to present Mr. Simpson. Patient's age and occupation, 34-year-old plumber. Could be a way to express this. About the presenting symptoms and duration, who presented with a 1-month history of breathlessness. Associated symptoms could be, he also complained of ankle swelling, which he had for 2 weeks. So you can see about the past medical story, there was no relevant past history. About the social history, we can say he was married with 1 son. He smoked 25 cigarettes a day and drank about 50 units of alcohol per week. So you can see he had 2 important activities, I mean recreational activities, smoking and drinking. A family history, his father died of myocardial infarction at the age of 42, and his mother was alive and well. 42 is a young man. Let's take it in account. Findings on examination. On examination or on exam, he was obese, and then we go ahead as a paragraph, the same as we were writing down the case report. The same way of doing this. And that's why it's important to practice this part we were talking about on exam, and then we go system by systems that are important and are evolved into the main problem, I mean the principal complaint. Then we have the investigation results. We did a chest X-ray, we showed, and then we read all the findings, taking into account anatomical details, specific lesions could be specific anatomical changes. Well, we know we had that opportunity to check such as vocabulary, right? The diagnosis. So we thought he had, and we started this paragraph similar to a letter of referral, given at the beginning the diagnosis. And then we support our diagnosis with the findings, lab reports, and imaging test reports. So you can see, that's why it was important the writing exercises we were doing. About the treatment, we gave him intravenous furosemide and we detail all the drugs. During a case presentation, you have two options depending on the moment you are talking about. You can give just the name of the medication because the idea is indeed done that all of the ones that are listened to have the idea of the presentation of the drug and have the idea about the doses. That's one option, to just talk about the name of the medication. Or maybe if you decide that it's better, you can detail the doses, all the doses you were using, according that these doses are not the most common ones, not the typical doses used. Maybe in a research you found that using the double dosed could be a better and a faster result. Well, it's your choice. That you have two ways to show the treatment and two ways to support how you did it. Then the outcome or the what happened with the situation, we can say he responded to treatment and was discharged home. The magical phrase, the easiest one to get used to about it and to support that we did our best with our patient. This outcome is very important because you support what happened. On the other hand, you can say by a negative situation, he had not responded to treatment and he was died. So, or he had not responded to treatment and he passed away. So you can see there is a way of finishing this. If the patient dies, of course, you have to support what happened, which complications were evolved, why the situation was going worse, your limitations for not correcting all of this uncomfortable situation could be. While being at the hospital, all of us had the chance, or maybe at this point we have the chance to make or to show a bedside presentation. This is a less formal type of case presentation and can take place at a patient's bed. For example, during ward rounds, when the house officer presents a new patient to the consultant, or in a teaching ward room, when a medical student presents a case of the tutor. Of course, when we are at the auditorium or in another place different from the bedside of the patient, there's not a bedside presentation. So we have to take it this small difference. When we are in the bedside with our patient next to us, we start like this. This is Mr. Simpson, he's 34 and he's a plumber. So you can see it sounds friendly, it sounds nice, we can get in confidence with the patient. And we start with all of the speech. He came into hospital yesterday, sent by his GP. How he arrived to the hospital. He's complaining of breathlessness, which he's had for 1 month, and then we go ahead. Right, so with this idea, with this first way of being next to our patient, being friendly is one of the most important activities, one of the most important situations. because you give confidence to the patient feels confident, and the management and information is better. Sometimes happens that you can forget a detail of the history. We are humans, it could be done. And well, the professor usually asks that information to the patient. That's why it's important. Or maybe the chronological history that you are relating, you are writing down, it's not well done, maybe has no sense or not full sense. The professor has the chance to ask again the patient and get its own conclusion. So taking into account this information, to make a bedside presentation, sometimes it's not how we expect, but it's the idea we can start practicing on this and getting used to this kind of situation. About the slides. Slides is a formal presentation. With this case presentations, I mean. We just go to the point. We use the same abbreviations we are practicing during the whole course. And we got like this. Is a formal presentation. The main points are usually summarized on slides. You have a limit, no more than 10 to 15 slides, depending on the case that you are preparing, depending on the patient situation. But usually you have to try to do it in less than 10. For example, less than 10, including the pictures you are showing, not only the written information. That's why you cannot get one slide for each part of the report. In English, it's in this way. If you want to add the slides from this model of presentation, if you want to add some more information, it has to be by graphics in lines, by charts, maybe bar charts, or pictures, something like that. Or maybe the lab reports when you are signaling the most important details, or maybe the imaging studies like CT scan, ultrasound, X-rays. Well, it's your choice. But just go to the point and not take all the information. That's why abbreviations are important, and I'm asking for about it a lot. For example, you have here complaint of dyspnea, of course, medical terminology, not breathlessness. Dyspnea 1 to 12, ankle swelling 2 by 52. What it means, dyspnea 1 month, ankle swelling 2 weeks. Why we know about it? 1 over 12. We have 12 months in a year. 2 over 52. We have 52 weeks in a year. That's why you have to take in account it on practice. Social history, married with 1 son. Okay. 25 cigarettes per day. 50 units alcohol per week. So you can take into account more information and expressions. Past history, nil relevant. We are talking about this expression nil, nothing relevant, nothing important, nothing to take in account. For example, could be a meaning. Family history, father death at 42. By myocardial infarction, we have the chart of pathological situations in the model 1. That's why it's important to consider them. And mother, alive and well. So you can see this abbreviation is new. But you have the idea that all of the time you are going to face this information like this, to face this way of expression, and that's why it's important to consider this. On example, obese, 2 spider navy on chest, pulse 110 per minute regular, blood pressure 100 over 60. So if you see, you're just going to the point with the most important information. You are not avoiding anything. You are using abbreviations. They are important at this point, and that's enough. The chest X-rays, enlarged heart, and bilateral pleural effusions. So you can see this is such a good example what you are supposed to be able to write down at this moment. Why I say are supposed? Because for doing a slide like this, you need months by months and practice and making mistakes and have a tutor, a professor correcting and teaching you how to do it. I tell you by experience, you cannot do it by the first. I tell you by experience, for writing down and catching the idea how to do it, this such a small resume, you got to get in practice a lot. It's similar to Spanish. In Spanish, instead of the, when we talk about dead people, we got across in parentheses, right? So that's the universal language, could be said, how it is done. So it's important to take it in account. And never doubt about your capabilities. All of you made a great job. All of you made a good effort. Don't worry about all the situations that at this point we are together still learning. The ones that are in college, of course, are learning too much and have a general view how to prepare this information, how to show this material, and it's important to go ahead. Until this point, is any question? Something you would like to check now? Because, well, it's our last theoretical class, and tomorrow we have the final test. So tomorrow I must be able to get an answer about it. Everything is okay, maybe?
Everything fine. Everything fine.
Okay, everything fine. I think everything clear. I already sent to all of you people the slide presentation last week for finishing the homework, the number 3. So get all of this. It's a clear presentation, I think. Maybe 1 or 2 typing mistakes, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna improve this. But, well, you got all you need about it. So please, let's fill the pool in order to take attendance. And maybe for tomorrow, is any question, something you would like to check or to say? Okay.
I think the exam is going to be similar to the last one, right?
Yes. So I was telling you last week, we have again 100 points into the score. And then we have 2 questions for writing down. One is a letter of referral question, and the other one is a case report, because they are the most important parts. These questions are easy. I give you the information in the question, and then you write down in a clearly way, please. If I don't understand the handwriting, I'm going to take less score about it. So try to do it at the beginning, or writing down as much as you can in the order we are practicing, and that could be enough, I think. On the other hand, I'm not asking for about the physical exam because it needs more practice to do it correctly, but it's important to take in account how to express it into the letter of referral, of course, because it's a way to support why you are sending a patient to another doctor, as we were talking about it. Each question, each written question of these points, of these specific topics, is per 10 points. I mean, 10 the case report, 10 points the case report, and 10 points the letter of referral. The 80 questions that are the rest of the test, of course, are combined between crosswords, no, not crosswords, I'm sorry, matching columns, filling blanks, and writing down sentences. I mean, reporting labs or details like that we are doing all the course, of course, according to the homework we are practicing. All the tests, all the questions are coming from the slides. And the way of answering, of course, is similar to the homework. That's why it's important to get this. Okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, any other question maybe? Is there any other question? Something you would like to point now? As I was telling you, the slides we were watching now, I sent you last week when I sent the homework that was organized for practicing. Try to send me that. The number 3 is the most important at this point, because the ones who receive the number 4 homework is for completing the exercise and following the score. But if it's not possible because of job or because you're out of time because of studies, I don't know, well, don't worry. It's just a small part of the whole written exercise. The most important is the number 3 because it's for a full chart, could be, for taking in account it. It's very important to finish, to complete all of the topics, please. Okay. Any question? I don't think there are more questions, right?
No, thank you. Thank you for everything, Iris. That's all.
Thank you, Ivana. Thanks for being always here and practicing and improving every week. I'm taking it in account a lot, believe me. Of course, attendance has a score. The speech while talking, how we get together has a score. Becoming to the workshop has another score. So everything is being taken in account. So don't worry, I'm sure you are going to pass this, to approve this module 2, and of course the whole course. Yeah. And approve everything for catching the title you are following. I promise I did my best, and I hope it could be enough for you. It's a small piece in medical English what we are talking about at this point, because 2 months, in my opinion, and I told it the same to the Institute, 2 months, it's not enough for getting enough practice and catching all the information we are supposed. But from this basis, we can improve a lot while reading, while writing, and everything you need. I'm here in order to help you. All of you have my cell phone. It's a privilege. I don't send it easily. So anything you need, you can send me a message. And as you know, I always answer, but it could take a little time, extra time, I mean, but I do my best. Don't worry. Thanks for being constant. You are the ones that are here from the beginning, and it really encouraged me. I'm very proud of you people.
Thank you, Doc.
Well, I think everything is done. So let's go for reading. Let's go for practicing. Any question you have about any topic, you can send me a message, and then I'm gonna answer about it, okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, so have a nice night, and see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock, please. I'm gonna send the the lines, the rules of the test at this moment to the WhatsApp group because everybody needs to get it clear. So don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow night. Bye.
Bye, teacher. See you
Bye
tomorrow.
bye.
Bye, Doc.
Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye.
Las parejas de infertilidad. Good night, Miss.
Good night,
Solo
doctor.
el 15%.